Welcome back guys. In this video I'll be showing you how to use AMD's FSR for Upscaler in conjunction with Intel's XeSS frame generation. This guide will work on any Linux PC with an RDNA 3 based GPU. In this video I'll be trying out FSR4 and XeSS frame gen in some games running on my ROG Ally that comes with Radeon 780M GPU based on RDNA 3 architecture. It's running on Linux based Bazzite operating system. Very important. The guide will not work on Windows based PC. I'll be using Optiscaler mod to enable XeSS frame gen and FSR4. Just make sure you're running on the latest version of MESA GPU driver. On my Ally it's version 25.2.1. AMD's FSR4 Upscaler uses FP8 precision format which is exclusive to RDNA 4 GPUs. RDNA 3 GPUs don't support it, but they do support FP16. MESA uses FP16 to emulate FP8, but this emulation comes at a performance cost. Newer versions of FSR4 Upscaler, that is version 4.0.1 and 4.0.2, are way more demanding than version 4.0.0 on RDNA 3 based GPUs, at least on ROG Ally. Ally's display is small. You'll barely observe the difference in terms of image quality between version 4.0.0 and version 4.0.2. If your RDNA 3 based GPU is powerful enough to handle the latest version of FSR Upscaler, yeah, you can use it, but on Ally I would recommend sticking with version 4.0.0. It also comes with a lower upscaling cost. Using XeSS frame generation is completely optional. If you don't want to use it, you can just stick with FSR4 Upscaler. I'll be using Optiscaler's latest test build, version 0.9.0 preview to 20250901. It's available on their Discord server. I'll give its link in the description. Just click on the .7z link here. Optiscaler build comes with FSR version 4.0.2. So I'll be downgrading it to version 4.0.0. Just need to use Fidelity FX DX12 file from Fidelity FX SDK version 1.1.4. I'll give the link to this site in the description of the video. Just click on the download icon here, download raw file. I'll kick things off with Marvel Spiderman. In this game, FSR3 Upscaler struggles to render fine textures properly, like fences, meshes, guard railings, buildings, windows when viewed from a far off distance. Open Optiscaler's archive file. We need to extract its contents. Click on extract. Name, type anything, extract. Wait for the extraction process to complete. Finished. Close the archive window. Just open the extracted folder. Now just copy the highlighted files. XeSS super resolution, XeSS frame generation, Optiscaler.dll file, Fidelity FX Upscaler DX12, bulk conversion not required, Nucomnice mod not required, Fidelity FX frame generation DX12, fake NV API.dll. Fake NV API will replace the Ingame reflex implementation with XeSS low latency mode, XeSS low latency mode file, DX11 version not required, Optiscaler.ini file, Fidelity FX DX12.dll. I think it's used as a mod loader with the newer versions. Fake NV API.ini file. Here, copy the files. Select the game in your Steam library. Right click, manage, click on browse local files. Paste everything here. Apply to all. Override 10 files. Now you just need to change the name of Optiscaler.dll file to txgi.dll. There it is. Right click, rename. Type txgi. Now just open Optiscaler.ini file. Need to change one setting. There's the file. Click on edit. Click on find. Type FSR4. Hit enter twice. Yeah, just set FSR4 update to true. By default it's set to auto. And just zoom in. I hope the text is visible now. FSR4 update set to true. Click on save, close. Now we need to add a launch argument to the game. Select the game in your Steam library, click on the settings cog here, click on properties, click on general. Under launch options you need to add this line of text. I'll provide it in the description of the video so that you can copy it from there and paste it here. %command. You also need to use the latest version of Proton. I am using Proton version 10-15 as the compatibility layer. This is the latest version at the time of recording this video. You can download Proton from Proton of Qt app. It's completely free. I'll switch to gaming mode now. We are ready to run the game. Bazzite system info section. My ALA is running on BIOS version 342. I have set the UMA buffer size to 4 GB. Video driver RADV 25.2.1. If you want to use FSR4, RADV driver should not be older than 25.2. I'll show you handheld Daemon settings now. Advanced settings. TDP set to 27 watts. TDP boost disable. I use a very aggressive fan curve. CPU settings. CPU power set to low. CPU boost disable. GPU frequency set to auto. Connected my Flydigi Vader 4 Pro controller to ALA via Bluetooth mode. X input controller. Launch the game. This message will pop up at startup and Spiderman with Optiscaler mod installed. Just tap on OK. OK again. DHGS spoofing is working. Here we are in performance game settings. Frame limit 120. VRR on. That's it. In-game settings, display mode set to full screen, which is actually borderless full screen mode. I'll run the game at 720p resolution first. At this resolution, FSR3 Upscaler will struggle to render fine textures, details properly. VSync is off. Reflex disable. Optiscaler mod is working. Frame generation disabled for the time being. Upscaler DLSS will use the mod to replace DLSS with other upscalers. Using the upscaler's quality preset. Using the medium graphics preset. Ray tracing, it's off. Post processing effects disabled, all of them. Depth of field, bloom, lens flare, chromatic aberration, vignette, motion blur, film grain, nil. Sitting at the entrance of on the Boulevard building. Just open Optiscaler menu by pressing the insert keyboard key. Increase the mod's size. Click on the drop down bar next to menu UI scale. Set the value to 1.3 and set it to 1.4. Much better. Yeah, from this drop down bar we can change the upscaler. First I'll select FSR 3.x, change upscaler. Here you can see FSR 4.0.2 upscaler got selected. I'll switch to FSR 3.1.5 upscaler. Change upscaler. Right, change. Frame generation not enabled. Auto exposure setting is on. I'll also enable Optiscaler's performance overlay, expand FPS overlay section. Check the setting, FPS overlay enabled. Position top right, full plus graph. Here you can see the base resolution value here at the bottom of Optiscaler mod menu. 856 by 480 pixels, upscale to 720p resolution. Resolution scale 1.5, which corresponds to the quality preset of DLSS upscaler. Click on save INI. Close. I'll just increase the size of Optiscaler's performance overlay scale. Just set it to 1.7. Okay, here we are getting around 60 fps. Not moving at all. Just observe the building's textures. The building in the background, red color building. Textures are flickering. Very bad image stability. Just observe the front grille of this vehicle. Again, texture shimmering effect can be seen during motion. So very bad image stability when using FSR 3.1.5 upscaler. Also observe the stairs here. Their textures are not rendered properly. Windows, again texture shimmering effect. $60 fps. I'll just switch to XeSS version 2.0.2 upscaler. DP4A model will be used on ROG Ally. Mod menu. Click on the drop down bar next to change upscaler. Select XeSS. Change. Base resolution again exactly the same. Resume the game from the same spot. FPS it's around 62. Roughly the same FPS that we were getting using FSR 3.1.5 upscaler. Now I am standing still, not moving at all. Observe the red building in the background. That shimmering effect has stopped. Observe the front grille of the vehicle. Shimmering effect has been considerably reduced by XeSS Upscaler. During motion, it's noticeable. Some shimmering is noticeable around the building as well during motion. Shimmering is not happening on the windows. So much better image stability with XeSS Upscaler. Yes, some shimmering can be seen during motion around the stairs here and the windows. Upscaler cost, upscaler time 2 milliseconds. Okay, now I'll switch to FSR 4.0.2 Upscaler. Open the mod menu, click on the drop down bar next to change upscaler, select FSR 3.x 4, change upscaler. Click on the drop down bar next to FFX upscaler and select FSR 4.0.2, change upscaler. Base resolution same again. Resume the game. Oh my god, FPS dropped to around 46 when I am standing still. With the other upscalers I was getting around 60 FPS here. So FSR 4.0.2 upscaler comes with a big hit on the performance, and look at that upscaler time, the cost, it's around 10 milliseconds. It's very high. This value should be on the lower side. Yeah, just observe the front grille here. No texture shimmering effect can be seen. Some texture shimmering occurs during motion, very difficult to spot it. And observe the red building in the background. I am also noticing an increase in image sharpness with FSR 4 upscaler. No shimmering around the windows, even during motion. Some shimmering can be seen around the guard railings during motion. See. Okay, now I'll show you how to downgrade to FSR version 4.0.0 using Optiscaler mod. 45 FPS and standing still. Exit the game, switch to desktop mode. Just need to use Fidelity FXT file from Fidelity SDK version 1.1.4. Copy the DLL file. Open the game's install directory. Select the game in your Steam library, right click, manage, click on browse local files. Paste the file here. Replace the existing file. Paste. Overwrite. That's it. Switch to gaming mode. Launch the game. We are in. Open Optiscaler menu and check the version of FSR 4. It's version 4.0.0. Instead of 3.1.5 you'll see 3.1.4. Change upscaler, save INI, close, resume the game from the same spot. Here we are getting around 57 FPS. So FSR 4.0.0 is slightly more demanding than XeSS DP4A model and FSR 3.1.5 upscaler, but considerably less demanding than FSR 4.0.2 on RDNA 3 based GPUs. Let's check out the image quality. Upscaler time here is around 3.6 milliseconds. With XeSS we were getting around 1.5 to 2 milliseconds upscaler time. Observe the red building in the background. No texture shimmering effect is produced when our character is standing still. Front grille, no texture shimmering effect can be seen. During motion, some texture shimmer can be seen. Stairs, textures are rendered properly when viewed from a far off distance. Some texture shimmering can be seen around the guard railings during motion. Buildings windows not producing texture shimmering even during motion, so that's good to see. Swinging around, FPS is within a range of 45 to 55, not bad at all, definitely usable. Okay, I'll show you a few more settings. Current model selected is 1. Models, set it to default. it will automatically select the current model for you based on the Upscaler's preset selected from the in-game settings. As I am using the Upscaler's quality preset, current model selected is 1. Highlight the question mark. Model 1 corresponds to the quality preset of the Upscaler. From here you can select the individual models. Non-linear sRGB input and non-linear PQ input settings can be used to reduce smearing or ghosting effect if present. I'll just increase the resolution to 900p now, show you its effect on the upscaler time. 900p selected, apply. Your base FPS dropped to around 50. Upscaler time, it increased to around 6 milliseconds. Swing around the city. Image quality, it's looking much sharper. 46 to 50 FPS, not bad at all. Just swinging around. Red building not producing texture shimmering around the windows. Okay, now I'll run the game at full HD resolution. Unfortunately, other Unreal Engine 5 games are not as optimized as Spiderman. Resolution set to full HD. Apply. Check out the upscaler time. It's close to 8.5 milliseconds. The FPS dropped to around 40. Image quality is looking very clean. Look at the fine textures here. Windows rendered properly. Guard railing. Barely any texture shimmering is produced now, as the base resolution is on the higher side. You can check the value. 1280 by 720 pixels. Very good results produced by FSR for Upscaler. Front grille, it's looking so sharp. Amazing. Okay, now I'll show you how to enable XeSS frame generation. Just open the mod menu. This game supports DLSS frame generation and Streamline version newer than version 2. So I'll use DLSSG via Streamline as the FG source. This way we won't be required to deal with hotfix. Click on the drop down bar next to FG source and select DLSSG via Streamline as the option. Click on the drop down bar next to FG output and select XeFG. Save INI, close, restart the game. Play. Just enable DLSS frame generation from the in-game settings. Apply. Here we are in FPS around 42. Open mod menu. Now you need to check active setting under frame generation XeFG. Current Streamline FG state on. Debug view. You will see these purple sidebars. If these sidebars are not showing up, this means XeSS frame gen is not working at all. Disable the debug view. Back to the game. Here I can observe the added amount of smoothness. The frame time graph will become slightly thick. It's normal, don't worry. This is amazing. FSR for Upscaler working in conjunction with XeSS frame gen. A Spidey shadow will flicker a bit. This flickering is way more aggressive in the case of FSR frame generation. Okay, now I'll test the next game. Now I'll show you the mod setup process for Cyberpunk 2077. Yeah, in this game, FSR 3 Upscaler produces very ugly texture shimmering in the environment. Open the extracted Optiscaler folder. Copy the highlighted files. Same files as before. I'll do this quickly. Vulkan not required. Fake NV API files. XCL file. DX11 XeSS file not required. Optiscaler.ini. Fidelity FX DX12. I'll downgrade Upscaler to version 4.0.0. Fake NV API.ini. Copy. Select the game in your Steam library, right click, manage, click on browse local files, open bin folder, open x64 folder, paste everything here, apply to all, overwrite. Just need to change the name of optiscaler.dll file to dxgi.dll. It's the same process as before. I'm just showing you the files that we pasted in this directory. Optiscaler.dll selected, right click, rename, type DSGI. Now you need to open optiscaler.ini file. You need to set FSR4 update to true. There's the file, open. Click on edit, click on find, type FSR4. Hit enter twice. There's the line FSR4 update. Just set it to true. By default it is set to auto. Click on save, close, add a launch argument to the game. Select the game in your Steam library, click on the settings bar, click on properties, general, launch options, add this line of text, again same as before. Using G Proton version 10-15 as the compatibility layer, latest one. Now I'll downgrade FSR4 Upscaler using Fidelity FX DSTL file that I downloaded from Fidelity SDK version 1.1.4. Copy. Open the game's install directory. Open bin folder, x64 folder. Replace the existing file. Size 13 kilobyte. Paste. Override. There's the file. Size 6.4 MIB. Switch to gaming mode. Ready to run the game. Play. In-game settings, I am using the in-game medium graphics preset. Upscaler set to DLSS. Transformer model does not matter, not using the real DLSS. Using the Upscaler's quality preset, sharpness level set to 0.5 up to you. Frame generation disabled for the time being. You need to disable post-processing effects. Motion blur off. Lens flare, depth of field, chromatic aberration, film grain off. Medium to high settings. Video display mode borderless required for using XeSS frame gen. Resolution 720p. Reflex is on. I'll just disable it. VSync off, no FPS cap applied. Performance frame settings, only level set to 3. VRR on, frame limit 120. Herein, open Optiscaler menu by pressing the insert keyboard key. First I'll run the game using FSR 3.1.4 Upscaler. FSR 3.x 4 Upscaler selected. No frame generation. Auto exploit setting is on. I'll enable Optiscaler's performance overlay, expand FPS overlay section. Check the setting FPS overlay enable. Full plus graph, position top right. Base resolution value 853 by 480 pixels. Save and I close. Okay, here we are getting around 69 FPS. Completely stationary. Just observe the fence in the background. Moving the camera around, you can see the texture shimmering. See, image quality just falls apart during motion when using FSR 3.1.4 Upscaler. Buildings windows, they are also produces texture shimmering effect. Even vegetation produces texture shimmering effect in this game. Exit the vehicle. Show you the leaves of the tree. It's a bit difficult to observe the effect on a large small display. I can see the leaves shimmer. Barbed wire on the barricades also produce texture shimmering. Buildings windows. The image is not stable at all. FPS stayed close to 70. Now I'll switch to XeSS Upscaler. Open the mod menu, click on the drop down bar next to change upscaler and select XeSS. Change upscaler. It's version 2.0.2. Same base resolution again. Below it the same checkpoint. Here FPS dropped to around 61. Upscaler time 2 milliseconds. With FSR 3.1.4 it was around 1.2 milliseconds. No texture shimmering is produced on the leaves of the tree. Finally, same thing for the fence. Moving the camera around, some texture shimmering can be seen around the fence. No shimmering is produced around the barbed wires on the barricades. Just exit my vehicle. Good results produced by XeSS Upscaler. Equip my gun. Buildings windows not producing that ugly texture shimmering. Image was literally flickering with FSR 3.1.4 Upscaler. Okay, now I'll switch to FSR 4 Upscaler. Click on the drop down bar next to change upscaler, select FSR 3.x4. Click on change upscaler. Click on the drop down bar next to FFX upscaler and select FSR 4, change upscaler. I am using the quality preset of DLSS upscaler, so current model selected 1, default. 1 corresponds to quality preset, see. Save and close, reload the same checkpoint, base resolution 853 by 480 pixels. The upscaler time increased to around 4 milliseconds and the FPS dropped to around 55. With XeSS we were getting around 60 to 65 FPS here, and with FSR 3.1.5 FPS was in the range of 65 to 70. Performance drop was expected. Check out the image quality. The fence, no texture shimmering is produced. Minor shimmering is produced during the motion, camera motion. Image quality is looking very sharp. Leaves of the tree not producing texture shimmering. They are looking very sharp. Building in the background, it's looking clean. Even when I move the camera around. Barbed wire on the barricade, not producing any texture shimmering. Very good results produced in Cyberpunk with FSR 4 Upscaler. It's definitely usable, slightly more demanding than XeSS DP4A model. Okay, now I'll enable XeSS frame gen. This game supports DLSS frame generation and Streamline version newer than version 2, so I'll be using DLSSG via Streamline as the FG source. Click on the drop down bar next to FG source, select DLSSG via Streamline as the option. Click on the drop down bar next to FG output and select XeFG as the option. Save and close, restart the game. Play. Open the in-game settings. We just need to set frame generation to DLSS frame gen. Apply. Okay. We are in FPS before enabling frame gen 47. Open Optiscaler menu using FSR 4 Upscaler. Check the setting active under frame generation XeFG. Current Streamline FG state, it's on. Check the debug view. You should see these purple sidebars. You can observe the added amount of smoothness. FPS increased to around 80. Disable debug view. Base resolution. Save and close. Your game is running very nicely, 74 to 80 FPS. This is amazing. FSR 4 Upscaler working with XeSS frame generation in Cyberpunk on ROG Ally RDNA 3 based GPU. XeSS frame gen related artifact. Just observe the weapon's iron sights. During motion, some ghosting is produced around it. This just proves that XeSS frame gen is working. Interface, it's not flickering. Now I'll test the next game. Now I'll show you the mod setup process for Metal Gear Solid Delta. This game does not support DLSS frame generation setting officially, but Streamline files are present, DLSS frame generation and reflex files, so we can use Optiscaler mod to inject XeSS frame generation into the game. You need to enable DLSS frame generation via engine.ini file. I've shown the process in another video, so I won't be covering this again here. Open the extracted Optiscaler folder. Select the highlighted files, same as before. XeSS, Optiscaler, RealtyFX, Upscaler DX12, frame generation DX12, fake NV API file, XCLL, DX11 XeSS version not required, Optiscaler.ini file, RealtyFX DX12, fake NV API.ini file. Right click, copy. Select the game in your same library, right click, manage, click on browse local files. Open MGSDelta folder, binaries folder, Win64 folder, paste everything here. apply to all, override. Now just change the name of optiscaler.dll file to dxgi.dll. There it is. Select the file, right click, rename dxgi. Now just open optiscaler.ini file. Need to make one change. Click on edit, click on find, type FSR4, hit enter twice, set FSR4 update to true, TRUE, click on save, close. Need to add a launch argument to the game. Select the game in your Steam library, click on the settings cog, click on properties, click on general, under launch options, add this line of text, same as before. I'll give it in the description. Again, make sure you are using the latest version of Proton. I am using version 10.15. Now I'll downgrade FSR 4 Upscaler from version 4.0.2 to version 4.0.0. I'll use Fidelity FX TX12 file that I obtained from Fidelity SDK version 1.1.4. Copy the file. Select the game in your Steam library, right click, manage, click on browse local files. Open MGSDelta folder, binaries folder, Win64 folder, replace the file, paste one, overwrite. This game's FPS is capped at 60, so it's recommended to disable the 60 FPS cap using MGSDelta fix if you plan on using XeSS frame generation. Again, I have already shown the process for it in another video. Switch to gaming mode, launch the game. In-game settings, mode set to windowed, 720p resolution, VSync off, max frame rate 60, can't go higher than this. Anti-aliasing method set to DLSS. Incorrect resolutions are used for the in-game DLSS upscaler. For example, its balance preset uses the resolution which is used by DLSS upscaler's quality preset. Low settings, global illumination set to medium, low motion blur, depth of field disable, and that's it. Performance game settings, OLL set to 3, frame limit 120, VRR enabled. Here we are in open Optiscaler menu. First I'll run the game using FSR 3.1.4 Upscaler, frame generation disable, auto explorer setting enable it. I'll also enable Optiscaler's performance overlay, expand FPS overlay section, check this setting, FPS overlay enabled, overlay type, full plus graph. You can check out the base resolution value at the bottom of Optiscaler menu. 858 by 483 pixel, which corresponds to the quality preset of DLSS upscaler. 720p resolution scale 1.5. Save and I close. There's a character. Change the location of Optiscaler's performance overlay, my bad, top right. Here we are getting 45 FPS upscaler time, 1.2 milliseconds. In this game, FSR 3 upscaler makes the world look a bit grainy when we move the camera around. I'll just highlight this issue. Just observe the textures here. Moving the camera, here you can see the graininess around the vegetation. See, around here as well. Bad image stability, 45 to 48 FPS, hitting the GPU bottleneck here. Okay, I'll just switch to XeSS upscaler now. Open the mod menu, click on the drop down bar next to change upscaler, select XeSS, change upscaler again. Resume the game. FPS is around 45, roughly the same performance that we were getting with FSR 3.1.4 upscaler. Upscaler time increased to around 1.9 milliseconds. Now observe the textures in the background. When I move the camera around, that graininess is almost gone, considerably reduced by XeSS upscaler. It's good to see. FPS, it's close to 45. Good results produced by XeSS upscaler. Now I'll switch to FSR version 4 upscaler. Open the mod menu, click on the drop down bar next to change upscaler, select FSR 3.x4 as the option. Click on change upscaler. Click on the drop down bar next to FFX upscaler and select FSR 4, change upscaler. When you change the upscaler for the first time, display may freeze for a few seconds. Do not worry, it's a normal thing. Audio should still be playing. Wait for a few seconds. Current model selected 1, which corresponds to the quality preset of the upscaler. So I'll just change it to, no, I'll stick with 1. Not using the balance preset of DLSS upscaler, my bad. Balance preset corresponds to model 2. This is fine. Base resolution 858 by 483 pixels. Save and I close. Resume the game from the same spot. FPS is around 41 with XeSS and FSR 3.1.4 upscaler. Hey, we were getting close to 45 FPS. The upscaler time increased to around 3.6 milliseconds. Now just observe the image quality when I move the camera around. Yeah, it's very stable. Very good results produced by FSR 4 upscaler. It's even usable in MGSDelta running on ROG Ally. Image quality is looking slightly sharper than the image quality of XeSS. Some ghosting is produced on the crosshair even without FrameGen. So do not attribute the artifact to FrameGen. I'll show you how to enable it now. Open Optiscaler menu. Click on the drop down bar next to frame generation where you find FG source. Select DLSSG via Streamline as the option. Click on the drop down bar next to FG output and select XeFG as the option. Save and I close. Exit the game, restart. Here we are in Open Optiscaler menu. Now you just need to check active setting under frame generation XeFG. Frame time graph will become thick like this. Current Streamline FG state. Yeah, it's on. Debug view, you'll see the sidebars. There you go. Things seems to be working properly. Disable debug view. Using FSR 4 upscaler base resolution, same as before, 858 by 483 pixels. FPS increased to around 70. I can observe that amount of smoothness. Very easy to tell that XeSS FrameGen is working. Image quality, it's looking clean, it's looking sharp. Difficult to believe that this is not the real 720p resolution. Everything is looking so sharp. The leaves, amazing results produced by using FSR 4 upscaler in conjunction with XeSS FrameGen. Look at the latency. It's manageable, all thanks to XeSS low latency mode. So that's it with the video guys. I hope you find it useful. Thanks for watching and have a nice day.